Welcome back to another episode of Harmonious at Lunch, the show that fuels your business success. I'm Brandon Gano, your host and guide through the world of harmonious business growth. Today, we're unlocking powerful strategies with industry experts to help your business thrive. If you're a business owner, entrepreneur, or executive, you are in the right place. Join me and our incredible guests today on the journey to clarity, growth, and success. It is time to revolutionize your approach to business. Let's dive in with another episode of Harmonious at Lunch. Welcome back to some more bite-sized business advice. We've got an awesome episode lined up for you. The topic is delegate or drown. That sounds very morbid, but it's true. You have to delegate things and get them off your plate to up-level yourself and get to that next level business. And we're going to do that with someone who has a outsourced VA firm who can help you with that delegation process. We're going to talk about outsourcing to VAs, how to do it effectively, and most importantly, how to do it so you don't drown in your business. So I want to welcome my guest, Beejel Parmar, to the show. Welcome, and thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So this is an important topic because I think we, as business owners, when we start our business, we try to do everything ourselves, and probably from necessity in the beginning, where we just take everything on and our plates seem to get bigger, and there's only so many hours in the day, right? So what I want to understand from your perspective is what brought you to creating a VA firm in the first place?
Failure, epic failure. What I mean by that is when I stepped into the world of entrepreneurship, the first several years was a struggle. I was attending the workshops, buying the courses, reading the books, doing everything right. But it wasn't until I picked up Tim Ferriss's book, The 4-Hour Workweek, that I had really an aha moment. We decide to become entrepreneurs or start a business because we want to be doing more of what we either are good at or like doing. The reality is most businesses, it's the morbid aspect of the business, the mundane, overwhelming, repetitive, boring, I don't want to do that shit, and dislike doing things, which actually are the fuel and engine that moves businesses along. And we entrepreneurs, we don't like doing that stuff. So what we typically do is we might then change our focus or change our business and try something else because we like that lure of that something exciting and new. But really we find ourselves back in that same trap. And that's exactly where I found myself, going from business idea to business idea, several over the kind of the 2000 and between 2000 and 2009, until I read the book. And my three key takeaways: the more time I spend on my zone of genius, the better the business would be. 2, delegate. You have to delegate so you can get that time back. And number 3 is you can leverage the global workforce nowadays. And that's basically my entry point. Right after that, I was so kind of fell in love with the concept. I started my first company with 3 VAs, then joined a much bigger company that had 100 VAs at the time, helped grow that to 500. But right now I'm on my third business, and this one's unique because now I have a much better understanding of what entrepreneurs need when it comes to their relationship to working with their VAs.
That's fascinating. And I would love to unpack that because I don't think entrepreneurs understand that. Most times when I hear people that they want to hire a VA, or even if they do have a VA currently, maybe several, the common theme is that they have to micromanage them. And I for sure know that's not the right way to outsource anything, because it's not the right way to hire your own employees. So why would you do that with a VA? So I'm curious, what do entrepreneurs need from that relationship?
Well, first thing is it's the biggest trap is attempting to outsource everything at the same time, right? We all have a lot of things, probably wearing multiple hats. And the trap is to try and outsource everything once we kind of, buy into the idea. My experience has shown, start off with just a few things at a time. The fewer things you have to outsource, the fewer things you have to worry about managing. And the other underlying thing is SOPs, or processes, systems. Systems is what's going to give you the freedom to just look at the work, give your VA the guidance they need to get the work done. Herein lies a bit of a challenge, though. Even though we all know that systems, processes, SOPs are the bedrock of a good business, of running a business, we don't often think as entrepreneurs in terms of systems and processes. We do them in our head, but we have a really hard time articulating them. But that's the magic sauce, right? If you can get even a half-assed process out of your head onto paper, record yourself doing what you need to do, get a training program in that can teach somebody how to do certain things. That's what's going to give your VA. That's going to set your VA up for success. When you've got good SOPs and processes, you don't need to micromanage. The process does the managing. You just basically have to check in to make sure, are they following the process? If the process works and the VA is doing it right, you'll get the result. If the process works and the VA is not following it right, you won't get the result. But you know that it's not because of the process, it's because of the VA. Now, here's a trap. A lot of entrepreneurs will hire the VA. They don't provide the clarity of the instructions. They've assigned too many different things. They probably haven't given any timelines or requirements or KPIs of when they want things done, how they want things done. And the VA will become basically, they pass on their overwhelm to the VA, thinking the VA is going to magically undo all this overwhelm. So keep it simple, start small, and build, layer in the responsibility. That's just kind of some very generic advice, but that I've seen that work time and time again.
I mean, it may sound generic, but it's so simple and obvious, but most people don't do it. And that's why I'm always surprised when people say, oh, my VA is not really helping me or is causing me more stress. Because when you start to break down their process, it's just chaos. They're taking their chaos and giving it to another human being. What do you think is going to be the result? It doesn't really make sense that this person would just magically clean up your life. So I love that you paint that picture. When you're first working with a VA, though, you said, well, one thing you said was at least a half-assed process. If you're a listener of this show, you know I'm a fractional COO, and that's what we do at What If. There's no such thing as half-assed process, so we can't let the listeners slide with that.
I'm glad you asked me. Let me clarify. Here's why I said it like that. And I said it very specifically. When I started my third business, I wouldn't even start to work with a client until they gave me a process. And guess what? 99% would never come back to me. So I said, great, give me your half-assed process. Between you giving that to a VA and the VA starting to do it, you'll be able to turn it into a full process. But most people will resist doing it and never start, and thus they'll never benefit from having a VA. So I would say, hey, start with something, but your VA is going to have to fill in the gap. They may need to come back to you and say, hey, I followed steps 2, 3, and 4, and 5. I'm good, but there's something missing between steps 6 and 7. What can you help me with that? Now but the entrepreneur is forced to pause, look at where the process is broken or not clear, clarify the process, and a little bit of back and forth, you'll go from half-assed to fully functional. But this accountability or this feedback from the VA will force it out of you versus never getting it done. That's what I mean.
Yeah, and that's fully acceptable. I take that answer. I just like to joke with people because we love SOPs and processes. They're so important to running your business and obviously scaling and delegating. Now, I'm curious for you because you said from 2000, early 2000s to 2009, you would bounce around to different business ideas and you'd hate the mundane, which is completely fair. I think we all do. We don't like doing things that we don't like doing. It makes sense. For you, though, when you started to outsource to VAs and as you built these companies, what are some of the transformations you've seen both within your own life and your clients' lives now that they and you can kind of push those things off their plate and focus on the things they love? I mean, do businesses scale faster? Do people stay with their businesses longer? What's kind of the transformation there?
Yeah, so all that and all of the above, right? There's a few reasons why we need to delegate. One is to improve the quality of our business, right? We want to improve customer service. We want to improve how we work with our customers. Number two is we simply want to win back our time, right? If our time is going into all this what I call the morbid stuff, we need to get that time back so we can focus strategically on growing our business, implementing new strategies, attending masterminds. That's where our time should be going. Then we talk about scaling, right? We really can't scale a business until you start to build a team. So everyone's unique in terms of the starting point. For some people, it's going to be like ground zero. I've never hired a VA. I've never delegated stuff before. And that's probably the most tricky point, right? The first time hire. However, I'm going to say this. think of it like going to the gym. You're not going to go to the gym and start pushing the heavy weights day one, right? You might go in there and start to warm up. And so we invented what we call the 1 hour per day VA concept, which is if you're brand new, think about just one or two things that a VA could do in just 1 hour per day to start to move the needle. Think of it like building your delegation muscle, right? Get familiar with delegating one thing. Here's a simple example. A lot of people go to networking events, online, in person, and I can tell you that most people really suck at that simple art of follow-up. I'm not talking about, hey, great to meet you. I'm talking about a system of follow-up. Well, this is one thing that a VA could do. They could come in, spend an hour per day. Maybe on that day, there's not a lot for them to do, but building in consistency and giving them a very specific role that could be just simple as manage my follow-up system or manage my sales CRM. And that's it. 1 hour per day could be a game changer for so many people if they just did that one thing. And then when you got that thing dialed in, add the next social media, LinkedIn, communication, all the DMs that you get, right? So that's kind of my, starting point. Ultimately, it takes the stuff off your plate and gives you that time back to start to really focus on sales, on marketing, on growth, on improvement, on strategic partnerships, the things that really move the needle in our business.
Yeah, it makes so much sense too. And when you were talking, an example came to my head of our own business. I can't stand social media. I can't stand my inbox. Do you know how many dollars are sitting in my social media inbox on both Facebook and LinkedIn right now? And I just don't open them because I'm an idiot. I think that's really what I'm getting at here. I can't bring myself to do it. But obviously that's a situation where that's something you would delegate, because that would move the needle forward, because people are having conversations. They're just not getting answered, which is really good business. So, hey, if you want to contact me, do not use my DMs. But the other part of this conversation that I'm really curious about is you have a very unique company here in the way you've built the company and you hire and train the VAs. You train them with AI. I'm curious to unpack this. Obviously, the world wants to talk about AI right now, but how are you leveraging AIs to train and onboard your VAs?
Well, in two ways. So, when ChatGPT kind of this is back in 2023, so kind of January, February 2023 was when I first really kind of woke up to, okay, AI is here, a different format. Why we got very excited was one of the weaknesses that overseas VAs had. And by the way, the word VA, typically the people understand it as virtual assistant. I'm not a big fan of the word virtual because it means not real. So we actually call them vital assistants because the work they do is vital. But we recognize that there's something that they could now do that could never done before, which is write near perfect English. Not obviously them by themselves, but leveraging the tools. This is how we entered as a company into the AI kind of servicing space. We could now tell our clients, hey, by the way, all those tricky client emails coming in or requests for information, your VA can now write well-written responses to that. Now they've gone on from that to use audio tools, video tools, image tools, like everybody else, right? But the thing is here, a lot of people right now are either kind of stepping into the world of AI, they've immersed themselves in the world of AI. But as a business owner, should we be the ones learning? I mean, there's hundreds of different tools. Should we be the ones learning all the tools? No. Find out which tool will get the job done better, relevant to your business. But have a VA that's AI competent, go through the tool, learn the tool, and use the tool on your behalf. We don't need to be drowning in the AI tsunami of a new AI tool coming on board every single day. But your VAs, whether it's to us or anybody, should become AI competent. You should allow for them to learn the AI tools because, again, it will save them time. They'll do better work for you, and thus your company is going to benefit or your business will benefit.
That's like reverse delegating almost, right? Is that kind of what I'm hearing? A different way to leverage VAs to say, like, I'm interested in these few tools. Can you go research, create systems around them, and then train our
Yeah,
team
because,
when you come back?
because we put them through what I call a competency training. Like, we anytime we have a VA come on board, they have to go through an AI program with us. They learn the fundamentals of ChatGPT, audio tools, video tools to become familiar. But to say they're experts is not fair, because the new tools coming out every single day. Example, last weekend I was just playing with a new music a songwriting tool, right? I could write a song in ChatGPT, bring it over into a new tool and play a song. So I had to learn that from scratch, right? So I can't say, hey, I've got VAs that are expert in that. But if I can learn it, they can learn it. They just need to know what you want from that tool, right? So give your VAs permission to learn new tools. Don't always expect VAs to know every single tool that you may want to be using in your business. Most of them are very quick learners, they're very fast. But of course, don't go hire a creative VA and then have them become an expert in admin, right? I believe in hiring VAs for the right role, and not just one VA that's going to do everything for me. Because if that VA quits or leaves, they take down half my business, right? Or they take down that whole piece of my business. So I like to have several VAs all sitting in their zone of genius.
That's an interesting conversation that I don't think I've heard all too often. How do you go about identifying? I assume you help through this process with your company, but identifying what roles you need filled, what tasks you need delegated, and then matching the right VA to it. How do you make sure you're doing that right, so you're not also burning out the VA, you're getting their best, and your company's not at risk too?
Well, I think the very first thing we do is we basically attempt to work with our clients to identify what do they need to delegate, like, right now. Usually starts with 6 questions. First question is, what's your focus, right? What's your goals or your challenges you're trying to work through? Second question is, what is the best use of your time to achieve those goals or overcome those challenges? When I say you, I'm talking about you and maybe your core team, okay? Depending on whether you're a solopreneur or a micro business. The third question is, what are you not doing, right? So right now you're attempting to hit these goals or overcome these challenges. What are you not doing that's preventing you from hitting these goals? Then what are you doing? What are you wasting your time on that's preventing you from spending your time on those things? The question number 5 is, what mentally drains you? Because you might have a productive morning on meetings and recording podcasts like this, but if it's leaving you drained by the afternoon and you've got some more creative work that you have to do to hit your goals and achieve your overcome challenges, it's going to delay you by not getting those things done, right? Now, once we have that list of things, then I can say, great, we've got a list of about 10 things here. Pick two or three. Pick two or three that if a VA came in, or if I waved my magic wand and somebody was doing that for you, would start to move the needle, right? And so we have a methodology. We have several methodologies to help people identify where to start in terms of the first things to delegate. And another one is treating, even if you're a solopreneur, you're still running a business with marketing, social media, sales, customer service, operations, finance. And then we say, great, of these areas, what's sucking up your time or what's not working? The clients and identify the departments, right? And then we say, great, what if you put somebody in that department? What's the impact going to be on your business? So there's different frameworks, different tools that we can use to help clients organize their thoughts. That's the key thing. Organize their thoughts around what to delegate first. Then it becomes much easier. Once they're clear, hiring the VAs is the easy part for us. It's getting the client clear about where they need the help.
Those are 6 brilliant questions. If you take this episode and you just ask yourself those 6 questions, it'll get a lot easier to start on this process and to start to grow your business too, because nobody wants to do the things that drag us down. I can't thank you enough for being here. You have a resource for the listeners on the screen, BeEPiC
Yeah, so I have
Outsourcing.com.
I call it the outsourcing ROI guide, because I believe that when you hire an individual, there has to be a return on the investment.
Yeah.
And so called the outsourcing ROI guide. It has the 6 questions. It will walk you through question by question. It gives you a bunch of tasks, or the 100 odd tasks that you can think about delegating right off the bat. It's a free resource that they can download from our website.
I love it. Quick question on ROI, because that's everybody wants to know, right? Like, how quickly do you see VAs getting fully up to speed after you're matched and paired, and there's that introductory period? How quickly do you see the relief from the entrepreneur as the VA starts to take over?
depending on the complexity of the task or the business, anywhere from 2 weeks to 3 months. Right now, again, generally speaking, somewhere between 2 weeks and 30 days is when we have clients come back to us going, "Oh my God, thank you." Right? For some more complex work, it can be a little bit longer, for like full integration. But I would like, we basically have a 30-day guarantee, which, hey, if we can't make an impact within 30 days, you let us know. We're here to make you happy, the VA happy. So, we're under a kind of the gun to get a result for the client within 30 days, whether it's time, whether it's impact on their, social media, whether it's an impact on their finances or whatever. But that's kind of the guarantee that we give for our clients.
Yeah, that makes sense. I love it. I appreciate you being here and kind of opening this up for us, because, well, one thing I'll say too before we wrap this up is this is not limited to small businesses and solopreneurs. I mean, we have clients that are 7+ figure businesses, and one of the strategies we put in place is they have multiple team members doing redundant work that none of them like doing. They have a shared VA that they can then leverage and take that work off of their plate, so you can give back to your employees, not just yourself as the business owners, and really make your culture about serving your team, your culture, your clients, and just being a better overall place to work. So I love this conversation and leveraging tools like a VA, someone who can help you and just get that off your plate. So Beejel, thank you so much for being here. This is a fabulous conversation.
Thank you for having me.
For those of you watching, listening, wherever you are, make sure you subscribe. We want to keep bringing this to you every single day of the week. And go check out the ROI outsourcing guide. It's on the screen. It's in the show notes, wherever you're listening. We'll see you on the next episode of Harmonious at Lunch.